Alright. Alright, so camera A, B, and this one is recording as well.
Yeah.
And sound is rolling. Have a good session, guys.
Sure.
Just, if you need anything, just come over here.
Yeah. See you in a bit.
Alright.
Alright. Let's start, guys.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Go for it. I guess you take it, I'll just follow.
That's it. I want to thank you all for tuning in from the last words with Babs from everywhere around the world. I appreciate all of you guys, and I've got a really special guest. It's going to be a big one. And yeah, so his name's Sasha, and let's get to know a bit more about him and his journey, and let's sort of get chatting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, thanks so much for having me on.
No problem.
I feel like a bit, maybe a context is good to show. Like,
Definitely.
We met 2.5 years ago. Literally just once, like so briefly.
Yeah.
I was working back at Salesforce in my old job, and you came. I can't even remember what kind of. It was almost like a taster day.
Yeah.
For people that were looking to work in the company.
Yeah.
And yeah, we held an event, and you came along, and we kind of just, I think, clicked a bit.
Yeah.
And then I remember we went out with Danny
as
well.
Yeah. The
Like
guys,
quite late to like, I can't remember, like 10 o'clock or something. Just walking around London.
Yeah.
And do you remember when we stood on the bridge as well?
Yeah,
like looking out and like just take the moment in, breathe it in. That's how we met. And I think back then you were doing a podcast and I was interested in coming on. And I think ultimately I didn't feel it was the right time because my business was still quite fresh. Whereas now I feel like I know a lot more, got a lot more to share. But yeah, so thank you for having me on. It's great to see you again.
You too, man. Your story, I think, is going to be very inspiring to a lot of people who are listening, and just in general, I think the world needs to hear about it. I think from my point of view, the journey from us then to where you are now, and how much you've grown, and what you sort of shared with me as well. I think it's really inspiring. I think it's going to help a lot of people. So so I guess let's start from the start, from the very start, and we can sort of move on to the different stages of your life, to the point that we met and to the point afterwards. So I guess let's start from childhood. How was your childhood's family life and everything else?
My childhood, I think, was. I didn't realise for a long time probably how fortunate I was. I think financially my family's, middle class, so we weren't, in my early childhood we weren't quite poverty, but near. And my parents obviously built up their careers, built up that, and we finally came away from that. But I was very, very fortunate with the amount of care and love that they gave me. And a big part of that was just travelling. Like, I think the first time I travelled was like 4 months old.
Wow.
Like, I think I've been to about 35 countries already. And most of that is just down to my parents just dragging me along, and bringing me everywhere I went. So I'm very fortunate and very, respectful for that. And I think it's provided me with a lot of understanding of the world on a broader scale to those who might just live in the UK or whatever country you're locked to. I really can't complain about any of my childhood. It was really, really good. And then I guess I think in school I always felt like the really odd one out. And like I was bullied. I'm actually thankful that I was. I think it helped me push to understand to become your own person. And I remember there was this kind of, there was this group of people in our school called Prestige, right, which was a self-assigned label, which looking back on it is just like, really guys?
Interesting.
How arrogant can you get? And, everyone wanted to be part of this superior group of the popular kid in school. And I remember kind of always trying to do something to try and fit in. And then I think it was just before I went into my A-levels, so year 11, I was about 16, and I don't know what happened, but I kind of just admitted that that's not me. I'm not going to be part of that group. I am the odd one out, but I'm the odd one out for good reasons.
Yes.
And the thing is, around that age, I kind of stopped caring as much. I still cared. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just became my own, and like I think if you ask any of my friends, like the things I always did was just like, I wasn't quite, you know, that really weird kid, but I was like borderline of being there, right? But I really credit that to where I am today, what I'm doing, my ambitions, my inspiration, my aspirations.
Yeah.
So I'm really thankful to my past self for having probably the courage to just not care that much and get over it.
Yeah.
I guess, moving on from that. After school, so I went to university at Brunel for 1 year. Looking back, was it the best decision? No. Because I went to study computer science and mathematics, and I studied neither at A level. And I only got a B in maths at GCSE, so it wasn't, you know, my strong suit. I really wanted to become a software developer. And then I studied the year there. That just wasn't for me. You know, having like 17 hours of study a week. It's not like school.
No.
You've grown up a bit. There's got to be a lot of that discipline.
Yeah.
And I'll put my hands up and just say I didn't have it. And I didn't have a passion for what I was studying, so it just didn't click.
Yeah.
So I made the decision to leave after my first year, and that's when I went and got an apprenticeship in software development at Thomas Cook. That was supposed to kind of be like me settling into my career and hoping to grow it from there. So it was an 18-month program, but 12 months into it, the company went out of business. It liquidated. And I don't want to get too much into it, but per like apprenticeship laws, if you're within 6 months of completing the program and something like that happens, it's like extenuating circumstances. So they can allow you to finish the program without a full-time employer.
Okay.
But I was like literally 6 months and 3 days, and they would not budge. And they're like, we're really sorry, you can't finish the qualification. So I had a year's worth of experience, but I didn't get, you know, anything from it, qualification-wise. So that was September 2019. And then obviously we know what happened March 2020. The entire world just changed for the worse, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
So there was a big struggle to, you know, find another job, and I had something similar for like 3 months, and it just wasn't the right fit. And then I was working at Asda. I was literally stacking shelves overnight from 10 till 6, like 4 days a week, whatever it was, which it doesn't sound great, and you know, it's not the same as like, it's not that laborious, but it wasn't fun. And I did that for like 10 months, just survival during COVID. Most jobs are cut, you know, good luck finding something. And then I tried to find another job in software development, and that didn't work out either. So that was going to like 2021, and then it was was it that summer? No, it wasn't. But then I started working at Amazon Flex. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically it's like you're a delivery driver for Amazon, but the Flex program is where it's like your own vehicle. So you basically just go to this massive depot, you collect your day's run, and then you go and do it. And I did that for like another 10 months. And I was trying to do a course at the same time, and it was self-paced at home, and it's hard. And then so that finally kind of, it was in the summer of 2022 where I was like, you need to get your, are we allowed to swear on this?
Yes.
You need to get your shit together now. So I tried to temporarily transform our garden shed into my office.
Nice.
And it was not kitted out for an office at all. Like I literally went and collected someone's like 50-year-old desk on Facebook Marketplace, which was just way too big. I was like, it's free, I'll take it. Put it in the shed. I had to wire an entire LAN cable from the house all the way through the outside to the shed. And I basically just spent most of my summer that year just sitting in there applying for apprenticeship, because I still wanted a degree. And I, like an apprenticeship, they're paying for it. They're also paying you a salary. It's like, double win, right?
Yeah.
And you get experience at the same time. It's just like triple win.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just locked myself away in there and just grinded at it. I think I did like, I don't know, it's like 300 applications for apprenticeship programs as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I managed to get the one at Salesforce.
Mm-hmm.
Started there, and then I'd already had what I'm currently doing, Alex Project. I had that business idea for like a year before that.
Mm-hmm.
And for some weird reason, I decided to start both at the same time, which I think most people would probably be like, why? Like,
yeah.
Because like getting the job at Salesforce was like a dream job.
Yeah.
So I think maybe for context for the listeners,
Yeah.
Salesforce is the #1 CRM company in the world. So they do about $35 billion of revenue annually, and they're growing year on year. They're the #1 in the space. They're like, everyone knows them, and basically they help businesses improve their relationships with their customers, essentially through data. So getting that job, I felt like I was the dog's bollocks, right? I was getting up at like 5 a.m, going to the centre of London, going to one of the gyms, which was like a 5-minute walk from the office.
Yeah.
Going to the office, doing the work, and I just felt on top of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, obviously the job, transitions from more like a trainer's training kind of style to actually like work.
Yeah.
After the sort of 6-month mark. And I also had exams, which was part of the process, and that was the bit that kind of started to become the issue.
Yeah,
so,
you're telling me, yeah.
I feel like maybe I should give you a chance to maybe ask questions, because I feel like I've just gone from 0 to 100.
What's up?
Okay.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I did find the exams really hard. They're literally accredited by Salesforce, so they run the exams, they make them, they create them, they provide all the training for them. And I just found it really hard, I think, to get around the logic of it, because it is all like tech based. They have obviously a software platform, and you just have to learn everything about it, the way it works, the way that the data handles each other and how it connects with each other and all this stuff. So yeah, I just ended up finding that a bit difficult, and then inevitably that put me a bit behind. And so when you've got that additional pressure on top of, like working your normal 40-hour week, it all kind of adds up. And yeah, I mean, it came down, I lasted there just under 2 years. So that was the program was supposed to be 3. And I ultimately decided that my passion didn't lie with selling software. I think in general, obviously what the business does is clearly very important. Otherwise they wouldn't have such a large business, 80,000 employees. But my passion wasn't there. And that entire time, I was having to juggle, working a full-time job, studying for my degree, and running my own business.
Boy.
I also had a long distance relationship. She lived 3 hours away. And so managing all of that and trying to see your family, like I was living with my grandma in London, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ultimately decided to make the transition and left Salesforce in June of last year. And since then I've been full-time in Atlas. I say full-time, I still need part-time work because the revenue isn't big enough yet. But yeah, that's where I am today.
That's inspiring, because a lot of people would think that leaving that job, number one, they would sort of think, that's a dream job, why leave it? And then number two, most people wouldn't take the risk of leaving that role because security. Yeah. To sort of do something that they're more passionate about. Yeah. So I really support that and admire it as well. Okay, so let's get to the great part, the really good part that we all want to know about. So obviously, you went from, you left Salesforce. How far from that did you then meet Simon and sort of get into that sort of realm?
Yeah, so we, I guess, met Simon in November last year. So I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I mean, when I went full-time into Atlas, so I went full-time into Atlas, and my now ex at the time, she was actually studying for 6 months in Australia, whilst I left the job and all this.
Yeah.
And so I was always supposed to go out and meet her, which I did, and I spent like nearly 8 weeks out in Oz, and then Bali, Singapore. So it was like trip of a lifetime, right? It was amazing. But whilst I was there, obviously, completely different time zone, 8 hours difference.
Yeah.
And I didn't do too much for the business, just because it's difficult. So a lot of it kind of relied on my co-founder Stan. But I then came back and we were like, I think we should do this, that, and so on. Again, it's our first business. We don't know what we're doing. We're learning as we go. And then I think it was in October. No, it was before then. I think it was in August or September time that Stan, I think both me and Stan had seen Simon on the internet. We'd seen his videos, so we were aware of his, name and what he did. And then I think it was Stan that found that he has his Ring doorbell in Twickenham. So again, I don't know if everyone knows, but Simon is like a pretty upcoming entrepreneur, very successful businessman in the UK. And he basically went and purchased a staircase in Twickenham at an auction and basically just set up a Ring doorbell at the bottom, which you go up to, you ring it, and you basically just pitch your business. And hopefully at the very minimum, he will post that clip on his social media. I think his Instagram has about 5 million followers now, so it's not small. And if he really liked it, he might invest in you. He might, get you some connections or something like that. And Stan mentioned it, and we're like, I mean, it's not going to hurt us if we go and pitch. Right? It takes a bit of time out of your day. That's about it. So we went and pitched it. I think it was the last weekend of September. And we did well. Obviously it was scripted. We knew what we were going to say. We practiced it, and I'd say we executed it quite well. And then we went away. I think I was spending that weekend at his house because he lives in Putney, so it's not too far. And then we also saw that Simon was running a separate competition with his business called Help Bank. And that was basically that the winner would have a billboard campaign go up with JC Deco, which is, I think I'm right in saying, the UK's biggest billboard space company. And all you had to do was just apply, submit a video, and give some details about your business. So we thought, we might as well apply for that. It feels a bit more, I guess, tangible than just the Ring doorbell. So we literally only slightly adjusted our script. We just changed it slightly and submitted that. And then I think it was like for 7 weeks we heard nothing. And the doorbell, it says on the door, we will respond within 30 to 45 days. Probably because they get so many submissions. So we're like 4 to 6 weeks, that's long, but it is what it is. So that period came and went, and we still hadn't heard anything. And then it got to like the 7th week. I think it was literally on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I think it was a Wednesday night, about 10 o'clock at night. We finally get an email from, I think it was essentially his PA, saying, "Hi Sasha, can you please meet us in Westfield this Friday?" And I'm like, okay. And that's literally all it said. And I don't know who this person is. I think it had the Help Bank, email address, so it kind of made sense. And so me and Stan, we don't know how to interpret this. We're like, and I said to him, because my typical mindset is, I always forget the saying, hope for the best, expect the worst. So I said to him, look, I reckon they're getting all the people that applied to come down, probably get a photo shoot, make some content, and that's kind of it. We never even considered, I guess I'm spoiling it here, that we won. And so, they said Westfield. They didn't say where in Westfield. They didn't give me a time. Until literally less than 12 hours before I was supposed to be there. So I had to be there for 11 o'clock on the Friday morning, and they finally gave me the exact spot. I didn't find out till like nearly midnight the night before.
Oh,
So it was literally
okay.
all completely kept from us.
Okay.
And Stan, he still has a full-time job, so he unfortunately could not make it on the day. So it was just me going down. And so I turn up, and like looking back on it, I'm like, I think it's quite evident what was going to happen. But when you're there, you don't know what's going on. You're confused. Nothing's been said. So I turn up, and there's a few people from the Help Bank team, which I don't recognise, but I get to know them. And then there's one other company, Matey Clothing, that is there with us. And they're like, we're just waiting for Simon to turn up, and then, we'll do it all. But still, nothing's being said. I'm not being told what's happening or anything. And so Simon turns up, and he basically goes and records the video with the other company first, Matey. So I literally get taken away.
Oh, gosh.
And I talked to this guy called Adrian, who works at Help Bank, super nice guy. I think he's from, I forget which country, but it's one of the Nordics.
Oh, okay.
And his story is really interesting because he basically loved what Help Bank and Simon were doing. So he literally just kept pestering Simon to say, look, I think I can help you, bring value to your company. And he paid for his own tickets to come to London to meet Simon and pitch everything. So that's kind of like the people that Simon surrounds himself with.
Yes, nice.
Super young guy, I think he's like my age, if not younger as well, so like 24, 25.
Wow.
And so I'm talking to him for about half an hour, and he's like, okay, I've just got the message, we can go back now. So we come back, and I spot Simon, and we had a very brief exchange before he was like, okay, let's start filming.
Okay.
And again, I don't know what's going on. I haven't been told anything, right? I'm just a guy with a coffee cup in the centre of Westfield and have no idea what's going on. And it's one of those things where like he's got like a whole film crew, right? So there's like at least two people with cameras plus mics and all this. So it's like, if you're not used to it, it's a bit intimidating and you don't know how to act around it. And he's like, I'm going to sit behind this poster and you just walk like you're normally walking through and I'll pop up and we'll go from there. Okay, cool. So I will say now that it did take 3 takes, so it wasn't, literally me just walking, it was complete shock and scare. But everything after that was completely authentic, completely genuine. And so he just starts talking to me, asking me, what's your dream, what's your business? And the conversation keeps going, and then he says to me like, I want to let you know that you guys actually won the competition. Like, I'm super proud of you, congrats, you deserve it, you're doing amazing work. And then he just points up to this billboard, which is nowhere near eye level. It's literally like right at the top of the Westfield like wall, like almost on the ceiling. Like if you're walking, you would never ever look up there and just see it. And he looks up, and me and Stan's face are plastered on it with our company name, the photo that we submitted at Twickenham Staircase, which we took when we were there. He's like, you guys have won.
Wow.
And I was just like speechless. As I say, my mindset was I was expecting everyone else to come together, get a photo, off you go back home. And to find out you actually won, it was crazy. I think I'll remember that moment for my entire life. So I really, really cherished that, and it was just amazing.
It's big. So let's go back a bit. So how did you and Stan meet? Like, how did that work in terms of?
So Stan's like is my second oldest friend.
Okay.
We've known each other 14 years. We've been best mates since secondary school. I guess that's it. I guess that answers it. We've known each other since like beginning of year 8. So we were best mates at school. Spent every day together, every lunchtime, every break. We went to different unis, still stayed in touch, still saw each other. Then obviously went different. Well, I say different as if you're expected to go the same career path, but did our different jobs. But I see him like all the time. We have great fun. Like we did some content about 2 weeks ago, and it was such a fun day. I was uploading some bloopers on our account over the past 2 days, and just watching it back, like it's just hilarious for us. Me and Stan, 14 years, like more than half my lifetime. So.
So as you came up with the idea, did he want to join? Was he like a part of the idea that you had, and you sort of told him, and he was like, let's do it?
You mean for the business?
Or how did that sort of come about?
Yeah, so I feel like it was in a weird way kind of like fate. And the reason I say that is because I came up, so my initial idea for a sustainability business was basically to be a essentially private sustainability consultant.
Right.
And what my idea back then was that people might want to become more sustainable. Typically they might not know how. So I would work with them to ascertain like a budget that they have in mind. For example, they might want to, I don't know, eat less meat. Obviously that's going to be a bit cheaper for you if you're buying more veg and that. So you free up some money, or maybe you've got, you're happy to spend £50 extra a month to buy an EV or something like that. And I sat on the idea for like a whole year. So I think I had that idea in like back 2020, I think it was. Was it 2020? Yeah, I think it was 2020 or 2021. 2021. And then I didn't do anything with it for like 9 months. I just had it in the back of my head. And then I reached out to Stan and I said, I've got a business idea that I wanted to run by you. And he replied saying, same. We're like, okay, so we met up in this coffee shop in West Malling, which is where he used to live back then, back in Kent. And yeah, we sat down, had a coffee, and I pitched my idea, he pitched his idea, and his idea was essentially a monthly subscription plan for people where the money goes towards sustainability initiatives. And so we tell each other our ideas, and we're like, these are so similar. The fact that they're both in sustainability, and they're both about, helping people become more sustainable. So we said we might as well just do it together, right? We're best mates, it minimises risk. You've got like that companion that you can rely on and do something with. So and then so that was 2021. And then like I said, I didn't join Salesforce till 22. So it was like another whole year of just us not really doing anything with it. Because back then, I mean, I'd say even now I don't really know that much about business. Just having to wing it half the time. But yeah, back then we really had no idea. So, but yeah, that's how we came up with it.
That's cool.
But we have, obviously what we do now is largely focused on B2B. So it has pivoted and it has changed a bit, but it's more based on kind of where the growth in the market is and the opportunity is. But yeah, that's how we got to where we are.
That's interesting. That you both had the same sort of idea at the same time.
That's what I mean. It just felt weird. But in a good way.
Okay, so since obviously meeting Simon, what's happened since then in terms of like I've seen you do like events that you showed me that you went to events and did some talks and stuff to audience. So I guess since that point that you met him at Waterfield, what's happened since then in terms of like in terms of the business and just different stuff that you've been sort of doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the main thing I'd probably say, and this is regarding Simon, so that it's a slight tangent, but I'll go into answer. I think first of all, I think a lot of people don't believe in what Simon does. Not in what he does, but that he actually does it. Like obviously now that we've interacted with him and we're quite involved, we check out all of his posts and stuff like that. And there is a lot of sentiment in the comments about, are you just doing it for the camera? Are you just doing it for the content? He gets millions of views on some of his videos, so he gets decent payouts from that, obviously. But I just wanted to make it really clear, like he does follow through. It's not just an on-camera thing. But the main point is that it's up to you. Because when we won, there was this slight sense of like, okay, what's he going to do for us? And then, like, they are so busy, like insanely busy. There's like 30 people in that company, and it is so difficult, to talk with them and find their time. And that's not me, battering them. It's just a statement. So it's like, I think people kind of expect if you engage with him and he gives you, either money or investing or whatever it is, that you're kind of sorted, and that's all that needed to happen, and it's just not the case. You've got to put the work in. It's your business at the end of the day. Exactly. But yeah, to directly answer, so I attended 2 events at the Excel Centre in London. I think it was in November as well. November's quite a busy month, or it might have been October. One of them was the Great British Business Show, which is like the biggest business show in the UK every year. So it's like 25,000 businesses or something like that. It's like insane. So we went along to that. I did 2 days, Stan came along on the second day, just to try and build connections, try and sell. I also attended a climate tech business show as well at the Excel Centre, literally like a week after that. What else have we done? I've been down to the University of Kent, which Stan is an alumni of, and I've spoken about my business, and I was invited as a guest on a panel to talk about what it's like starting your own business and all that kind of stuff. And then more recently, I guess, regarding Simon, I've met him probably about 4 or 5 times now. But the most recent one with him was he had a Dreamers event. So like, that's kind of what we call the people that try and build their dream with him, Dreamers. And he had an event at the Box Park in Wembley. And I went down kind of just to meet the other Dreamers in person, obviously support Simon, see what he was going to say. I got his book as well, which came out not too long ago. And then it was literally like an hour before, I got there like an hour early. No, sorry, 2 hours early. And then it was literally about an hour before he was coming up on the stage to talk, and his team messages me on WhatsApp and like, do you want to pitch your business to the audience? Again, last minute, no prep, nothing. I'm like, there's 700 people here. I'm not confident speaker like that. Like, I can just about do it. Did I want to do it? Absolutely not. In the sense of like, is that my personality? No. But obviously the opportunity, right? So I then spent an hour of just basically pure 100% stress trying to figure out what I'm going to say, and I had 2 minutes to pitch it. So I then had to go up and I pitched it. Like, I think I did all right. It wasn't too bad. It's more like the experience and learning from it that I've taken away. But I met some great people there. I had quite a few people come up to me afterwards who were interested in what we do, which was great. So I made some connections, and I was like, I think I had like 4 like Google Meets the next week with these people, trying to see what we can do for them and vice versa. But now we're working 100% on our campaign, which is in June. Exciting. Do we know what we're doing? No. Are we going to know what to do? No. But it does feel like a once in a lifetime opportunity, but I hesitate to say that because I think it really is up to you to decide what your life becomes. And I think, could I get an opportunity like this again? Yes. But does that mean you should treat this one as if it's not once in a lifetime? No. So we're working towards all of that. The artwork, finding a venue, because we want to host an event the day before the launch of the billboards to bring together our supporters, maybe some of our clients. But it's a lot of work, and we've really just been thrown into the deep end. Like, you get told that you've got a billboard campaign going live for 2 weeks, literally wherever you want in the country. We've obviously gone for London. And you just got to sort everything out yourself. But it's a big learning curve, amazing experience, and I just really hope it does, really well for the business and puts us kind of on the map.
Definitely.
So
definitely, it's exciting.
It's
exciting. Okay, so let's start. From a not a service point of view, but what made you think? What made you want to reach out to me at that point that we start to for me to support it or sort of be a small part of it, of the campaign. So
definitely. I think podcasts are about spreading stories and spreading messages. And like I've loved what you're doing. I think what you do. I think if you look at any of the big podcasts, like the Joe Rogan show or even Logan Paul's or anything like that. ultimately it's all about people's stories. And I think that there's a huge focus on podcasts that bring out, you know, these really famous people, these celebrities. And obviously people are interested in them for a reason, like they're typically successful. But I think it's also really important to hear it from people that are like either in the midst of it and they haven't quite made it yet, or they're literally even just before that. It's just their life story. I think everyone has a story to tell.
Definitely.
And it doesn't have to be someone rich or famous for it to be interesting.
Definitely.
I think for most people, their own story is interesting for them. So I just love what you do about giving people the opportunity to just spread it regardless and get their name out there. Not even for like, you know, clout or fame or any of that. It's interesting, right? It's hopefully inspiring, and I think you can learn so much from so many people.
Definitely.
And you should never have this mentality that you're, you know, the most intelligent person in the room. If anything, you should feel like you're the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah.
And if you've got that mentality, there's so much room for growth, so much room for opportunity and learning.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, forgetting me, I think what we're trying to do with our business is hopefully inspiring on some level, but ultimately it's all about, you know, positivity and good for the planet and good for people.
Yeah.
And so I've been thinking about like to change our slogan or really adapt one recently. And the one that I feel like I kind of fixated on, which it sounds like paradoxical, maybe even stupid, but it's, we put people first by putting the planet first. And like, well, if you put people first, just put the people first. But I'm like, if we take care of the planet takes care of us.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people realise, like, for example, deaths from air pollution alone is one of the highest killers worldwide annually.
Wow.
And that's because the air is just essentially so toxic that we breathe. Obviously in London it's not as bad as like China, where the smog is, you know, you can't even see, it's like fog. But ultimately it's just about improving the health of the planet. And I think the sense of discipline and responsibility that brings along, it's something positive you can inject into your own life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to try and spread that message.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, in terms of, you know, how you can support, like, first of all, we invited to the event, so I hope you come along.
Of course.
To support us. I think it'd be great for networking in general anyway, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because we're going to invite some of the dreamers. I'm really hoping Simon's there. Really hoping he comes down. But yeah, and just, you know, stay in touch and you know, promote on social media and vice versa, because I love what you're doing. So
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So I guess what's the future plans that you have for it? Because you're now growing now. There's a lot of happening. What's your plans? You and him have towards the growth of the business in the long term for you two?
Yeah, long term, I'm not entirely sure. I think something that we were constantly pushed on, or challenged on is the right word, was like, what's your USP? And I think probably in the last, not even 6 months, I think we've really honed in on what that is. And now we just need to execute it. Like, I don't want to disclose it because I feel I don't want to give others the opportunity to take what we're trying to do. But there's two main avenues that I think we can really push it in the industry. Long term, at the moment, being completely honest, I don't know. And I think it's because we're so focused on this campaign.
Right.
We have a fair amount to do, and I think there's always more that you can do, and it's just figuring that out.
Yeah.
But really, it's just putting us on the map. I remember reading somewhere not too long ago, it was like, I can't remember line for line, but it's like, marketing isn't there to get customers now. Marketing is to put your business on the map in someone's head when they come to the time of buying. So, and I think that really changed my perspective on it, because I feel like marketing is like, here's my brand, buy now. Most people aren't ready to buy now, especially for a service. It's different to product, right? If you're thirsty and you see a bottle of water, you're going to go buy it. With a service, it's always, you know, return on investment, and is it even an investment? Am I, you know, going to see any result from this? Does it free up my time? Whatever it might be. So yeah, it's just working that out. But I think it's been really interesting to, I guess I'm giving them free promotion. So there's a brand called Salt,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been absolutely smashing on social media. They've got so much praise from it recently, and like honestly, kudos to them.
Mm-hmm.
So they've literally only just launched like 10 days ago their product, and they were building hype up for like 3 months. They're basically a hydration brand, and they're trying to pivot hydration from like an athlete and a sports perspective to everyone needs to be hydrated, and you need electrolytes and salt and all that kind of stuff. And I've been watching their stories and stuff, and they're kind of in that phase as well, where they were so focused on the launch and making that right and building as much hype and suspense as possible. Now that they've launched, it's a completely new aspect of the business. They don't know what to do.
Okay.
They're still killing it. Don't get me wrong. Like they're very good at what they do. So I think they'll do absolutely fine. But I think it's going to be similar for us. I think we're so focused on the campaign. It's difficult to know, is it going to propel the business? And if it does, how far? And then I think it's kind of it's going to be late nights, barely any sleep, hopefully, to keep up with the demand and kind of really bring the value that we want to bring. So, yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know what the answer is.
That's fine. That's fine.
But we'll see, I guess.
We will. Okay, perfect. Do you have any questions for me that you'd want to ask to me?
Obviously, you've probably spoken with a lot of people over the years.
Yeah.
Would you say there's like a main theme you've like seen between? Because I think you've spoken to people like all diversity that you can, race, colour, gender, how they were brought up, job, everything.
Yeah.
So is there like a main theme that you can kind of put across everyone, or do you just think everyone is just genuinely different?
Yeah, I think everybody is just different, but I think the great thing about it is I think from what we said before, everybody has their story. So the story is unique to them that brought them to where they are now, and sharing that story. But I think in some sense, their stories are different, and the things that they've learned and the gems that they've passed down, in some ways similar, but in other ways different. But I think the premise behind the message is the same. I think it's work hard and sort of have passion for what you do and have love for what you do, and just sort of keep sort of going. I think that's the main sort of key things that's normally brought across in the pod. But I think in terms of their own personal story and what they've learned, I think in some cases it can be a bit different because people have different journeys and it's sort of
absolutely, yeah.
Stages. But yeah, I'm always blessed to obviously connect and talk to people and sort of hear their story or hear their journey and sort of see how we can add value to people through that. But yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Also, it's gone out of my head. I forgot what I was going to ask. I guess thinking of something new on the spot. Like, how much would you say you think about sustainability as like an average person, average consumer?
That's a good question. So I think I try to make sure to like recycle and throw stuff away and not leave stuff obviously outside or on the floor or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I try to make sure that I'm using how do I say, I'm trying to be more effective in terms of the materials that I'm using to like eat or drink or anything like that. Yeah, I'll definitely say those are the key things that I try to make sure that I sort of thinking about when I'm sort of in my day.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't think this will really give away of what we're trying to do, but I think being in the industry, I realised how much a lot of it's greenwashing, a lot of it is just quite frankly lies. I'm not going to call anyone out on it. Any big company, but they, if you think top 500 Fortune companies, I think it's actually top 100 produce something ridiculous like more than 50% of all CO2 emissions worldwide. It's insane.
Wow.
But the one thing that we really found recently, which was quite a shocker, was actually emissions from digital content. So it's like, and I feel like this is completely something that people just don't know about. It's just like when you're scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, any of that stuff, all those videos sit on a server. That server requires electricity. Electricity is created and essentially produces CO2. So I don't want to say for who, but I did some pretty hefty calculations recently to figure out what their digital footprint for CO2 was for the videos that they produce. And just for one video, I think it was like 170,000 tons of CO2 for 1.5 video on YouTube.
That's crazy.
And then if you think about how many videos there are, right? And another stat that I always say whenever I'm sort of dealing with clients is, I'm sure you know the song Despacito?
Yeah.
Like the massive song of the summer from 2017, I think it was. Has like 8 billion views now. And I think back at the time that it was calculated, it had 5 billion views. But the amount of emissions produced from 5 billion watches is the same as 100,000 taxis operating for 1 year.
Wow.
So the amount of fumes that cars produce in a whole year, 100,000 of them, and taxis are like running almost 24/7. That's the same as what that video produced. And that's one video. It's like 3 minutes long.
That's crazy.
And so we're like, this is just insane.
Yeah.
Like it's such big numbers, you can't really comprehend it. So yeah, we're trying to bring awareness about that and try and tackle that aspect, because I think that is really not spoken about and no one's really heard about it. But yeah, we'll see what we can do with that front. But yeah, things like this, like the content that we produce, it emits CO2. So we do our best to offset that. And be more than happy to offset, this podcast as well for you. Definitely. No worries there. Make it a bit more sustainable.
For sure.
But I think just educate people on that as well.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Wow. Well, it's things that you don't normally think about when you're like watching stuff. Yeah,
no, it's as I think it just goes completely under the radar.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you just would not think about.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I guess what advice would you have for people who are either trying to get into business or somebody who's trying to get into your space? What advice would you give to them to like start and sort of grow?
Wow, good question. For my space, I don't actually know. I mean the main thing is just trust and transparency. So the 3 core pillars of Atlas is transparency, authenticity, and genuine impact. And we try to stand by that in as many aspects of the business as we can.
Right.
So that basically means that if you're offsetting something or you're supporting like a sustainable initiative and organisation, actually show the evidence for it. I think that's something that all these big companies, they don't do. And I'm certainly not dissing charities, but I think some charities don't do a good job. It's like, donate £5, okay, I've donated it, what's happened with it?
Oh yes, that's true.
Right?
That's
and
true.
there is a lot of like conspiracy theories and all this about, it's like, the money that's supposed to be going to the Red Cross or towards AIDS in Africa and all this stuff, and they need to do a better job of just showing it, because you can fake that, right? You can get actors, but realistically, maybe on their level they do that. We never do that. I mean, it's ridiculous to assume someone small like us would do that. But yeah, just be transparent. But I think for people in general, I think really understand who you are as a person and what you're looking for in life. For some people, for most people, having a normal job with a very stable income, stable, monthly salary, you're getting it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could lose your job due to cuts in the company or whatever.
Yeah.
That's normally a bit rarer.
Mm-hmm.
Understand if the entrepreneurial, that hustling kind of life is for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if it's not, don't go for it.
Yeah.
Because you are going to make your life harder.
Mm-hmm.
There is the financial struggle, emotional, stressful, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So just really know what you want in life. And I think that's ultimately the message that Simon's trying to get across, right? He asks people, what's your dream?
Yeah.
And he's probably a bit more lenient with it. I think he thinks that anyone can have a dream. But I think some people just are not built that way. And they are happy with, their stable job and so on.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately any business should provide value.
Yeah.
Again, if I'm thirsty and I want water, there's very clear value in that.
Yeah.
So as long as you provide value, and I'd say generally to society, you've got something to sell.
Yeah.
You just then need to be able to sell it. And I'd also, this is kind of a tip, not if you're going to do it or not, but it's if you do it, I think everything is about your environment. If you do not create the right environment for you to essentially thrive in, you won't. If you're watching 2 hours of TikTok before you go to bed, if you're prioritizing a Netflix show over going and doing a workout, it's all about your priorities.
Yeah.
And it's simple things like, I've got an Xbox, I play with Stan, we play Space Marine 2, phenomenal game, try it out, Warhammer. Every time that I turn it off, I literally unplug it, and I unplug my TV from the wall so that I'm not just tempted to go and play or watch something.
Yeah.
Like at one point I was extreme, and I literally just took the TV out of my bedroom, got rid of it. But if you set up really easy ways to be distracted, you will be distracted.
Yeah.
But it also applies to, I guess, like your office space, the people around you. Like they say, you're the average of the 5 people closest to you.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I think you do have more control in your life than you might think. So just try and create an atmosphere, an environment that allows you to get to where you want to get.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to be a constant struggle, and it's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah, definitely. That's good.
Yeah, that'd be my tip.
That's good.
What about you?
Me, I guess for me, I guess it's interesting because I've been thinking about creating a course. So for people who wanna, number one, build a personal brand, but also number two, who wanna get into the media space and sort of advise and help them towards how to do that. But I think in terms of, for me, I would say be intentional about what you want to do. Know the reasoning behind why you want to do it. Because if you don't have a reason or a why, as they say, you're more likely to give up and stop.
Absolutely.
It's getting harder. And then I would say, I guess, have people around you who are in a similar space to you. So I've got people around me who are in the same space as well. So we sort of like talk and sort of try and work together. Yeah. As well. But also I would advise to watch people as well who are in the same space as you, so you can gain support, and I guess you can sort of see how they're doing and learn different tips on how best to sort of do what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah. Then lastly, I'll probably say don't get too bogged down by the data behind your figures, because I think if you get too bogged down by the data of where you want to be, then you're more likely to not see the growth, the small growth that's happening with what you're doing. So I guess your business is a long-term view as well. It's important to not necessarily have a short-term view on sort of where it is and the sort of goals they have for it as well. Yeah. So yeah, I'd say those 3 or 4 things. I'd say definitely for me.
I think they were really good points. I think the second one especially, that instantly rings a bell for me about Mr. Beast. So I don't know if you know about his earlier days. But when he was starting out as a YouTuber, I think he lived with, it was either 5 or 6 other people that were all trying to become like YouTube stars, like content creators, and he really credits that to his success. and I think they literally lived in the same house.
Mm.
So you have 5, 6, maybe 7 people who are all aspiring to do the same thing.
Mm.
And he said, I ended up learning at the pace of 6 people versus on my own.
Yeah.
And that's so true. Like, if you surround yourself by these people, it's like, oh, hey, I tried this today, it didn't work. And everyone else is like, okay, I won't bother with that then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, I did this, absolutely do this, and they try and it works for them.
Yeah.
You're learning like 6x the pace.
Yeah, and I think also I'm really grateful that I have you and I have I have people like you, because obviously I think the journey of life and the journey of the ideas that we had and the journey that we've managed to go on, it makes it even sweeter where we're at now, and sort of talking about it and sort of where we're gonna go with each other. So I think I'm really excited for the launch and what's to happen, and yeah, it's really exciting to obviously know that we had an idea, we both wanted this game, wanted to grow, and I was seeing how you wanted me to like support and work, and where we're at now, it just shows how if you've got people around you who are also in a similar pathway trying to achieve something, then you can sort of build together, work together, and sort of in a way push each other towards where we're trying to go. So I think that's also another important thing to have people who are also like not even just people entrepreneurs, but also have people who are trying to aim for something and sort of have strong goals and for themselves as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
completely agree.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a real big one, and I'm really excited for what's to come. And guys, make sure to support Sasha and their business, and make sure to also. So I try to make quick content, I guess, at the launch as well, so you guys can see what's happening. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for what's to come. Have your eyes peeled on them as well and what they're doing. Really, really good stuff, and yeah, I'm really blessed to sort of know them as well. So yeah, make sure to check them out. And I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in from wherever you are in the world. I really appreciate you guys for supporting and showing love from the start to now. So keep supporting, keep showing love, and more stuff to come maybe soon as well. So be sure all of you guys. This has been Babs
and Sasha.
I'll meet you guys later.
Yeah.
Peace out. Bless. Alright.
Cool.
Lovely.
That went so quickly.
I know, it's crazy.
First time I checked the time, it was at 40 minutes.
Is it?
I was like, what?
Wow, went quick.
Yeah.
All done, bro.
All good?
Yeah, man.
Great. Let me stop everything. Perfect. How did it go?